So personal development, is it good? It's a question. So like you probably, I'm assuming a lot of people have done a lot of personal development. I know I have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on different seminars, you know, Tony Robbins, his highest level stuff, and just like all these different things I did. I've learned sales, I've learned all kinds of things. And you know, it works good in the matrix. I learned how to do creative real estate. I learned how to do all these different things. And it's adding concepts and ideals and processes to your mental state, to your brain. And you get more and more and more, and you can go out and you can spin more elaborate webs in the matrix is essentially what's happening. And it's all part of the journey, right? And some people will stay in personal development, or some people don't even get to the point of wanting personal development, right? Like there's no right or wrong here, guys. It's just a matter of like, as your consciousness rises, you'll start to be pulled in different directions. And higher consciousness isn't better. It's just less suffering. It's just a natural evolution that we go through. And so it's not like there's any judgment towards anyone that is anywhere. You know, it's just a matter of where are you and why might you be feeling what you're feeling. So personal development, a great example of it, like just to kind of dig in a little deeper to understand this and explain, you know, why, well, you can probably figure I don't like it and what actually happens. So How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, right? Most of us, I'm guessing a lot of us have read this book. And it's great, man. It teaches you how to basically put on a mask and get what you want in the world. Act interested, you know, do this, do that. And holy shit, it works because you're playing to people's ego. But personality comes from the word persona. And the word persona is Greek for mask. So what we're doing with a personality, everybody thinks that a personality is great. And when you go towards enlightenment or liberation or whatever, you still have like your essence of who you are. But the problem with personality is it's fake, and you put on a certain mask to get what you want because you're afraid of getting things you don't want or not getting what you do want, which is the ego mind, desire and fear. So what happens is you start to see that doesn't work. Even if you go out and get all the things you want, we talk about it all the time on this channel, it doesn't work. So Dale Carnegie teaches you how to be inauthentic, essentially. And the problem with personal development, it even goes deeper than that. Some of you may have gone down the rabbit holes of like the UCC code in the United States. I went deep into all that stuff, what the birth certificate means. I'm not going to go there. The summary of what I learned, going really deep into the way the banking system works, in Tulum we call them the Tuluminati, so you know what I'm talking about. But how all that works, the crux of what I discovered was don't go to war with the gods of war. So I'm not going to go deep into that, but if you look at the UCC code, when they did the 13th Amendment that supposedly set blacks free from slavery, they enslaved all the citizens using the term person, which if you look in the UCC code means corporation. So it's not just metaphysical, it goes deep. It's in the actual programming. What I'm trying to explain to you is that building your personality to be something that is not your truth is effortless. Your truth is letting go. This is all personal development, is all building, adding, putting more on, constructing, changing yourself to become something that works in society in a matrix. And the bottom line is, for the people that are seeking higher consciousness, that are on this channel, hopefully you know that it doesn't work. Because I hope it has worked for you, and then you found out that didn't make you happy. Like, it's really hard to tell people that have never had success not to go down this path, because the people that are probably going to resonate with this are people that have achieved things using personal development and found out that they're still not happy no matter what they get. Those are the people that are going to resonate with this, and that was my path as well. So personal development is adding to, and that takes you away from your core essence. So raising your consciousness, and this is a hard thing to you can conceptually understand it, but when you start doing the work, when you start doing the roar method and you start letting go of the falseness, you start letting go of the identity that you think you are, you start letting go of all these things you've made yourself out to be on Instagram, whatever, how you act, maybe even how you got your wife or your husband. I mean, it really cuts deep when the falseness starts to come off. And as you let go, it's a deconstructing process. So going to higher consciousness is the opposite of personal development. Personal development is adding more bullshit. You're a diamond, and there's a lot of mud and dirt stacked around you. That's why the life has a lot of suffering. And all that mud and dirt are your concepts, beliefs, ideals, all these different things. That's personal development. You're developing the person, which is not who you are. Raising your consciousness is undoing that, and it's uncomfortable, so it starts to come off, and you start to see the reality of that you were basically lying your whole life. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but that's the way it felt for me. And that's what starts to happen, and that's why this is it's uncomfortable, but it's actually the last time you have to deal with it, because now you're seeing the truth. So the biggest difference between personal development and raising your consciousness, they're exact opposites. When you start to truly want to raise your consciousness and you start to clear things out using the roar technique, link in the description, or whatever technique that works for you, but you're actually doing the work because you have the courage to face the falseness within you. It takes courage, guys. Most people see this shit and they run the other way. They go to another personal development course because they can't freaking handle what's in the mirror. And when they get one glimpse of it, they're gone. And they're just not at a maturity level to handle it. And that's fine. But the bottom line is until they can face that mirror, that metaphorical mirror, they're going to suffer more. And that's what happens. They go back out in the world, they get another, they go to another seminar, they go make another, $1 million, they get another bunch of experiences, and then they look in the mirror again and they're like, this isn't working. And they're suffering even worse. And 10 years went by, 15 years went by, 20 lifetimes go by. The opposite of personal development is raising your consciousness by removing the falseness. So at some point in your life, you come to this point where you realize that more knowledge isn't helping you. If knowledge was the answer, the world would be free right now. It's not. The answer is getting rid of the falseness that you have been told to believe, programmed to believe, indoctrinated with through college, through grade school, through your parents, even unintentionally because they were indoctrinated. Undoing all of that bullshit, and it is not comfortable, but it is the most powerful thing you can do with your life. It is the most courageous thing you can do with your life, and it is the only thing that works, and it is the only path to true freedom, is the deconstructive process of raising your consciousness by clearing out all the bullshit that we put in there, man. It was put in by our government, it was put in by the Illuminati, it was put in by our parents, it was put in by our friends, it was put in by Instagram. Every time you get on there and be like, oh, she's getting all these likes, maybe I should dress like that. It's bullshit. And if you're aware, it starts to hurt deep in your heart. There's something like, fuck, it hurts. And this channel is for the people that feel that pain, that know that there's something, this work that I'm doing and that I'm sharing with you guys, there are people doing it, but this is not the norm. I'd say less than 1% of the people in the world are even to the point where they can start to turn inward, because all of these external stimuluses have people running around in pure psychosis. Straight up, it's insanity. They're all asleep. People think they're awake because they understand what the government's doing and they understand what happened in 2020, and they think that's awake. That's not awake. So at some point you turn towards truth, and at the core of truth is self-truth, and at the core of self-truth is who you really are. And as you go to that, many layers come off. The onion begins to peel and shed, and it isn't really comfortable, but it is like, it's like front loading all that pain. Like you're delaying the pleasure, you're front loading the pain, because as you peel this shit off, instead of being triggered every time something hits your resistance, it's gone now. So you feel a lot of pain right now to never feel it again, where if everybody else turns away from the pain so they get little suffering, anxiety the rest of their life. And that's how it works. And a lot of people are so indoctrinated that they're never going to turn inward. And that's fine. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that they suffer. So that's the path, man. Personal development is more layers of bullshit, and higher consciousness is taking it off. It's up to you.